Well, it is not a great Monday. Dylan Carlson recalled from AAA because Colton Cowser has a broken left thumb. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. This was supposed to be the day that we celebrate the Orioles home opener against Boston, with Cade Povich taking the mound, the lefty. Unfortunately, we are beginning this homestand with some not so good injury news. Please like, subscribe. We're going to have all of the updates from every day of the season, the good, the bad, the ugly. And as I reported yesterday, Colton Cowser slid into first base. We're going to look at the video in a moment. He, though, did come out to play the outfield the next inning, but ultimately he was pinch hit for in the ninth inning by Sanchez, which had everybody wondering, of course, is Cowser okay? And the answer is no, he is not. Let's take a look. This is Colton sliding into first base. You can see the left hand hitting the front of the bag, and immediately Colton making the face of agony. Let's take one more look at it. This is Colton sliding into first. Look at that left thumb and the look on his face. Clearly a painful slide into first. We could debate for hours and hours if anybody should be sliding into first base. I think this is a combination of bad luck and probably a bad decision. But look, Colton was trying to get the bag in a game that the Orioles weren't getting many bags, and also, of course, couldn't hit with runners in scoring position 0 for 7. And so the effort was there. It might have been a bit misguided. Regardless, Colton Cowser now on the 10-day IL. The question is, however, with this left thumb fracture, these things are finicky. We've seen it time and time again. So no timetable for Colton Cowser to return yet. As we alluded to earlier, this man has been called up from AAA Norfolk. This is Dylan Carlson. You'll remember that Carlson was picked up in the offseason, and he is a switch hitter. One thing we can say about Carlson, and we're going to get to all the scenarios for how you fill in for Colton Cowser in just a moment. One thing we can say, though, however, for Dylan Carlson is he had an outstanding spring. His OPS was north of 1. And so he had an outstanding spring. So he has been called up. The other question mark, however, with his call-up is indications are that, sorry, that's Adley. We were looking for Gunnar. Indications are that Gunnar Henderson could be back from the injured list on Thursday. He's eligible to come back on Thursday. He's looked a little sketchy in the field so far in his rehab games, though he did hit a homer. He's looked good at the plate. So if it's, first man in, first man out, then Carlson might only be up here for a couple of days. But let's talk now about the scenarios. We'll take a couple minutes to really talk about the different scenarios here. So as I mentioned, you have Carlson. The choices are pretty much, endless as to what you can do, because you have Ramon Laureano, you have Carlson, as I mentioned, you have Heston Kjerstad, and you can make some moves with Ced. So do you plug in Ramon Laureano as the regular left fielder, even though, of course, Laureano's mostly here kind of to be a platoon partner for Cowser and Ced, because they're lefties? Do you keep Laureano kind of in that reserve role and give the starts to Dylan Carlson, a decent outfielder, and he did light it up at the plate in spring training? Or do you give Heston Kjerstad the starts. As you saw in the first series in Toronto, the Orioles and Brandon Hyde, for whatever reason, are reluctant to give Heston, it appears, at least in the first series, regular playing time. So again, the question comes back to, what do you think? And I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you want to see Dylan get the reps? Do you want to see Heston Kjerstad finally get those regular reps? Or do you want to see Ramon Laureano step in, or some sort of platoon situation of all of the scenarios that we just went over? But again, not many of you probably know a lot about Dylan Carlson. He's 26. He's a switch hitter, kind of one of the modest acquisitions that the Orioles made over the offseason. And remember, he was once very good. 4 years ago, he was good in St. Louis. And so, maybe getting him into some sort of cadence, some sort of regular rhythm, helps with his, helps get back to where he was. But again, and I want to ask you, which scenario do you want to see? Please comment right now the scenarios that you want to see as the Orioles head into this home opener in Boston. Again, not the best of news. The other storylines as we go into the home opener above and beyond Colton Cowser is whether or not Sagano is going to be okay for his next start. All appearances are he came out after 4 because of cramping, but again, further tests being done. So the question is Sagano. Hopefully we do get back Gunnar on this homestand, and hopefully the Orioles bats, and it is going to be tough without Cowser out of the lineup. Somebody's going to have to step up because, in the 2 losses during that Toronto series, the Orioles were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. You simply can't win ball games if you can't hit in the clutch. And that's essentially what happened. So today we're going to get our first look at Cade Povich on the mound, see what he can do. Hope that Sagano comes back and that it's just cramps. Hope that Colton Cowser is not out for an extended period of time. But there's a lot happening in Birdland. You can follow it all here. Let me know what you think in the comments. For now, I'm Jon Leiberman, and I'll see you soon.